The Whistle of Death. Written by the chill author. Death is the fairest. Back and forth rocked Granny Smith on her rocking chair placed on the porch of the Apple family household. She felt the fall breeze brush through her hair and caress her face. Granny Smith hummed, looking over the once green leaves on the apple trees turn brown and slip off, floating gently down, touching the earth. She managed to see a red figure off in the distance, assuming it was her grandson using a rake to gather the fallen leaves, gathering them into a pile. Some leaves managed to slip through the cracks, but Big Macintosh remedied that mistake quick, putting the leaves back into the pile and raking them along.
Granny Smith?
A faint voice called out, and the elderly Earth Pony looked over to her right and sees Apple Bloom standing there next to her.
Yes, Caramel?
Granny Smith spoke softly.
What is it? Yeah, okay. I called your name and you didn't hear me the first time. Is everything alright?
Apple Bloom asked. Granny Smith smiled and gave her a nod, focusing on Apple Bloom's lips.
Everything's alright, dearie. My mind was just wandering.
Apple Bloom was still concerned, but moved on.
I was just asking if I could go hang out with the Crusaders.
Granny Smith scoffed.
Huh. Now, why do you need my permission? You're free to go hang out with your friends. Well, it's just Applejack told me to take care of you while she's solving a friendship problem with Fluttershy in the south.
Apple Bloom replied, to which the elderly mare hummed.
Alright, Caramel. Go on ahead.
Apple Bloom's eyes brightened, and she skipped along down the path to Ponyville. But just before she gets too far, Granny Smith called out.
Oh, and Apple Bloom?
Apple Bloom stopped herself and turned to face Granny Smith, mouthing the words.
Yes, Granny?
Granny Smith smiled.
I love ya, Apple Bloom.
Apple Bloom smiled back, mouthing,
I love you too, Granny.
Before she skipped off down the path, leaving Granny Smith alone on the porch. She took a deep breath, gathering all the nice cold air before releasing it through her mouth, and kept rocking back and forth. She then heard a sound so clearly, as if somebody fixed her hearing for her. The sound was a whistle. The whistle rang across the farm, yet it wasn't loud. Granny Smith stopped rocking her chair and turned her head to face the sound. She saw a figure so clearly, as if somebody fixed her sight for her too. The figure was a large silvery white bipedal wolf with an elongated snout, a gray mask marking on its face, sharp teeth and calm red eyes. He wore a black riding coat with a built-in hood, and brown trousers under it. The wolf stood in front of the door, which was right in front of her. Hello, Granny Smith. The wolf said like an old friend.
Hello, Death.
Granny Smith replied. The wolf appeared to be surprised, having not expecting her to know his name. His eyebrow raised high before he smiled and took the hood off his head.
I've been expecting ya.
Likewise. He glanced down at the Earth Pony, and Granny Smith looked right back. The two stared at each other. You lived quite a while, Miss Smith.
Oh, please. Call me Granny Smith. Everybody calls me that anyway.
Granny Smith gave Death a warm smile.
And besides, I mean, 70 years is nothing compared to ya.
Death shook his head. Abuela, your memory seems to have failed you, but you have lived to 197.
You couldn't have waited 3 years?
Granny Smith choked, which managed to make Death snort out a laugh. I'm afraid not. Your time has come. Death replied.
I suppose that's fair. I've lived longer than any of the other folk around me.
Granny Smith continued to rock in her chair and look out to her farm. Her eyesight was better than ever before. She could see so clearly. She saw that Big Mac was no longer raking leaves, likely to have gone to Ponyville, and leaving her alone on the farm. Well, that isn't particularly true. Princess Celestia and Princess Luna are centuries old, and they're still alive enjoying retirement. Death said matter-of-factly.
That is true. I can't make it past 2 centuries, it seems.
Granny Smith chuckled to herself. Death couldn't help but to chuckle too. That's life for you. Life isn't fair. But death, on the other hand. Death gestured to himself. Death is the fairest. Everyone gets it. Granny Smith nodded.
I suppose so. Every pony gets it sooner or later.
Indeed. Although, It is a shame I had to take bright Macad but to bear so soon, Death admitted. It's unfortunate that Apple Bloom never really knew them, and you were left with the burden of taking care of 3 foals.
Ain't no problem. Like I said, life isn't fair. Death is the fairest.
Granny Smith said coolly. Death smirked and walked away from the door to sit down on the left of Granny Smith on the floor. The afterlife isn't all that bad. After all, people are dying to get to it.
Ha! I would have thought Death was a comedian.
Granny Smith chuckled as she rocked. Death stared ahead into the farm, as did Granny Smith, looking past the apple trees, past Sweet Apple Acres and into Ponyville. And who would have known that this town would hold so many unforgettable memories for your grandchildren? Death asked. From Nightmare Moon's arrival to the rise of Twilight Sparkle as the ruler of Equestria, you've done so many things. You should be proud. Granny Smith snorted.
Proud? I didn't do diddly squat. I just made the town. It's my granddaughter and her friends doing. That really made this town a special place.
I suppose that's true, Death mused. The two sat in silence for a while, and eventually, Death stood at his feet, taking out 2 crescent-shaped sickles.
Well, get on with it.